Have you ever heard of a man that goes by the name of, I forgot his name.
It's not helpful.
Chris ELSTON?
No. Should I have?
Maybe. He's the man with the billboard or billboard sign man, or he's got some special nickname to him. He was attacked not too long ago, but he's often attacked. It's not anything new.
Physically or with words?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So this was on the DC Shorts, and it might have also been on Fox News, might have been on a few other places. And I'm going to play this clip for you, and then I'm going to read the comments, and then we're going to try to see if we can get to the bottom of this.
Okay.
You suck. You. You're not wanted. You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking
I don't know what to say.
You.
These police are mostly indoctrinated as well.
Everyone here
They're afraid of the mob.
because you're a
Think
fucking idiot.
afraid they do anything keep law and order.
You.
Absolutely.
The end of this.
Just think for yourself.
So it's cowardice, buddy, all around.
You!
But probably. How do you keep your posure?
What?
How do you keep posure?
Nothing.
Hey! Get your ass up there!
Okay. They just violently assaulted my phone, my purse, my dog.
There's a lot more coming.
The cops didn't ride your dick.
They don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
She thought it was a joke. She thought it was.
Well, and I know so many cops who love
She didn't even want to look at your video. When she did look at it, she later said that she didn't even see it. This other officer took down my information, but they don't want to do anything about it. We've got the perpetrator
Hey, Chris,
on
do you have
video,
any supportors here? Nah.
and there's they want to do.
Empty,
What do you think about the fact that they're being so angry and violent just like a week after a transgender activist shot and killed some people in a Christian school?
So these people are all mentally ill. But the police, man, I don't know what to say. It's just incredible, the state of Canada right now. You'd think that the cult of transgenderism had hired their own police force and brought them out today because they're doing nothing to protect us. They're just here to support these people. Another guy, there was another man who was just punched by somebody. Police are doing nothing about it.
And I got hit. And
So you asked, what was the question?
I said verbally or physically.
No, you said why?
No, I
does
said, why does that woman sound like a man? And then I realized what was happening.
Yeah, exactly.
That's aggressive. I mean, he was literally just standing there, and that woman, because I'm assuming the blonde that hit him was a transgender man to female. Why so aggressive? Is it because of all the hormones in their system? Or, like, I don't understand how you want people to side with you, but then you're like that aggressive over a man standing still wearing a sign that literally just says children cannot. It says nothing else but children cannot. He's not doing anything else. They're the ones screaming obscenities in his face, talking about his family. All he's doing is literally standing there. And then this woman decides that throat punching him is the solution to him just standing there. That gives women a bad name. And that's a man. That's the man's testosterone and mentality jumping in and coming out of a woman at this point. I have issues with that. It does not help their stance whatsoever.
It's interesting listening to you try to explain yourself and articulate yourself in this situation. As you had to clarify that woman is actually a man. Mm-hmm. But you said woman, but it's a man.
It's still a man. I mean, people are going to hate me for saying that, saying that a transgender woman is a woman. But it's not.
Let's take it for face value.
Okay.
People are going to hate him for standing there with a sign on his chest. So just because they hate you
doesn't matter.
Doesn't justify
the actions or the situation or anything like that.
Riley Gaines. Who's Riley Gaines? Do you know who that is?
I know the name, but I don't know who it is.
Riley Gaines, a former NCAA swim star.
Riley Gaines joins us now. Riley, good to have you with us today. Thank you very much. Tell me, not that long ago, you were swimming for Kentucky, and now you find yourself on Capitol Hill, really becoming the face of female athletes who are fighting to make sure that women's sports stays about a competition between women. How do you feel about where you are now?
If you would have told me a year ago, I would have gone from competing in, of course, women's sports to now fighting to protect women's sports, I would have laughed at you. This is something that we could have never foreseen. This is never a position that I wanted to be in. This is never something I prepared for. I still feel extremely unequipped for what I'm doing, but I see what's at stake if someone doesn't fight for this. Of course, I'm done competing, but I'm fighting for that next generation of female athletes who don't yet understand the implications that this has on them and their opportunities.
So you're on Capitol Hill. I think we have some video of that as you were talking about how uncomfortable it made you having to undress. Your dad is in the background. You can tell he's, grimacing because he can't believe that his daughter had to go through this, changing in a locker room with someone who's born a biological male.
No, I think my dad's reaction speaks for every father of those swimmers who were at that meet. And I know this based off conversations I've had with those girls who were at that meet. And
says here, torches Adidas for disgusting women's swimsuit ad that accentuates models' bulge.
Oh, yeah. So Adidas put a transgender in a women's bathing suit as one of their, that.
Now we're going to save that for another video, but it's here on my list as you are trying to dance around what terminology you want to use for woman or like how to say it, because it's weird because it looks like a woman sort of because of the clothing and long hair or whatever, but obviously it's a man.
But then there's ones out there that you would never know because they're so feminine looking to begin with, which may be why they went ahead and changed genders.
Let's talk about that. Blair White or Blair Black. It's the same person, Blair White, Blair Black.
I would never have thought that was a born woman.
You would have never thought.
I would have never thought that was a born woman.
Like you knew from the start.
Yeah.
But you also say that most men would probably not be able to tell.
Yes.
Because Blair White, Blair Black looks like
a lot of the overdone females these days.
Right,
yes.
right. So
very Kardashian.
Why would you say because of how overdone?
Because of how overdone.
It's like, oh wait, this is too perfect.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So here's a question: because this woman trans doesn't look like that, Blair Black, Blair White, right? Is that where some of the anger comes from? Where you won't necessarily see these videos with trans people who are overdone that don't get questioned most of the time. Well,
I feel like so here's where it's going to sound some type of way because I'm basing this off of what I have seen on media. The women, men, women, the ones, I don't know how to say. I don't want to say ones.
The media chooses some of the most
obviously used to be males to push. I don't think that the ones who look like Blair White, Blair Black, whatever the name is, I don't think that they're congregating in places and having these riots like these manly looking wannabe females are.
Like they're flying under the radar.
Yeah.
Because
it's the ones who are noticeable that seem to be having the massive issue with everything. And the problem is the ones who are more noticeable are the ones who are also the angriest and giving the whole thing a bad name.
Is it because, now this is all just hypothetical questions here. Is it because if Blair Black looks in the mirror and psychologically sees themselves as a woman, and in the mirror they see a woman, they're happy. Whereas in this instance, this attacker were to look in the mirror, not see a woman.
No.
Does that mess with do you think that has any influence on their mental state?
Possibly.
That can put them in these situations to be angry and congregate. And
yeah.
So even according to the National Institute of Corrections, a government agency, transgender people will now be diagnosed with gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria.
Well, I mean, it is a mental disorder. I mean,
which means emotional stress related to gender identity. Gender identity disorder had been listed as a mental disorder since the 3rd edition of the DSM more than 20 years ago. But essentially what they're saying is it's not a mental illness. They're labeling this a condition.
Well, they also decided to label pedophilia as a condition as opposed to a mental illness.
This is from our government.
Oh, I understand, because the government wants to push it. What's the easiest way to ensure a lower birth rate? Well, to push gay pride, to push transgenderism, to push vaccines, to push all these other things, to push needing to work however many hours a week, to push making sure that you're thinking about you and buying all these expensive things so that you don't have money to have the kids, whatever else, because they want to, a lot of people say, ensure population control.
Did you notice the police force?
No.
You didn't? You didn't see them in the video? You didn't see the police in the video?
I was more focused on the manly woman, the one, I don't even know. I still don't know the right terms to call, because I refuse. As a woman, it is hard to call a man who has decided to dress like a woman, because you're still a man. You can't give birth. You can't breastfeed. You don't have a uterus. You weren't born that way, so you're still not a woman no matter what you change. Oh, I saw them.
Did you really see him?
I mean, I saw the female one with the hat on.
Did you really see him?
But not really. No.
You still don't see him?
I mean, right there, yes, I see the word police, but...
You do. You see the word police. But do you see it where it says Vancouver?
They're in Canada.
Did you see that?
No, I just see the word police because it's bigger and I'm farther away from your computer.
So it's not just our government. It's not just our government.
Well, I mean, think about what is it? Was it Philippines or Taiwan where they have a lot of... Thailand, where they have a lot of the same things. So
that's been going on for a long time.
But I feel like the government allows it a lot because it helps push separation and agendas that they need.
So I'm going to read you some of the comments from this DC Shorts video. It says that the trans community is so full of love and tolerance.
Where?
It is on full display here.
Oh, there's sarcasm. I like it.
Such a brave and honorable man to stand completely alone for the children.
I agree.
Did you see his sign?
Children cannot decide. I've said it myself. You cannot tell me a 4-year-old knows that they want to be a boy and not a girl. They're 4 years old. They have no idea what they want. There's no clue there. They're basing everything off what their parents say, what their parents do, what they're shown on TV, and everything else. That they do not know what they want to be.
If you attack one of these, I'm going to censor this term here. It's called a hate crime. Ridiculous.
But how come if a transgender person attacks a non-transgender person, it's not considered a hate crime?
Gotta love the trans. Now, here we go. Listen to this one.
Okay.
Gotta love the trans and LGBTQ community. They crave acceptance and respect, but never bother to give it back. I have huge respect for this dude. He's obviously winning in life.
I don't fully agree with that statement because not everybody can be clumped into that mob there.
See, what the thing is you never see this new acronym is being misused. So you'll never hear him say, well, the GBQ community. No. It's always going to be LGBTQ.
Plus. Now there's the
LGBTQIA+.
But
ultimately, whatever it is, that's what it's going to be. And if you're one of them, you're going to be lumped in, and then everyone else is going to be lumped in because that's what they're going to use to categorize you.
Well, like black people, like Asians, like Mexicans, because they, for some reason, everybody Hispanic is Mexican to people.
Every Hispanic is Mexican, and every Hispanic that's Mexican is illegal.
Yes, that's true also.
So
there's the clumping.
Yes, exactly. So this comment here, I mean, I understand where it's coming from,
but it's also inaccurate. I mean, you can have respect for the community as a whole, but you don't have to respect everybody in the community. You can say the community itself wants one thing, but it doesn't mean that every single person in that community is pushing from a negative place. Do you know what I mean? But that is one thing that people say. They're like, you want acceptance, you want to be treated like everybody else. Why do you need your own flag? Why do you need your whatever else? Well, do you remember that Confederate flag bullshit? I mean, people still rock that thing all day long, saying that that's their history. But that was like, what, 2, 3, 4 years? And all it shows is that your family was racist. Like, why do you want that as your thing? But people out there that say, we want to be treated the same as everybody else. How many gay people do we know that aren't running around flying flags on a daily basis and screaming from the top of the rooftops that they're gay, that they're whatever? They're just living their lives like you and me. We do know people like that. But then you do have others who want to scream it from the rooftops, which that's their prerogative. You also have black people who want, full black power, and they're very pro African American, pro African, pro whatever. And then you have white people who are very pro white. That one to me is a little bit different.
Sometimes it's like it almost seems like oftentimes the super pro black goes super anti-white.
That's true. And the super white goes super anti-black and super anti anything else.
Super anti not white.
Yes. So does that mean that the super LGBTQIA plus is super non LGBTQIA plus? Yeah.
Well, do you have a problem with flags? Because is there a problem with
Trump
American flag? Is there a problem with the Georgia flag? You remember living in Georgia, Georgia flag. Like, should we not? If we are representing this country in other parts of the world, should we not have our own flag to represent? So then it's like, well, where do you draw the line on this? Having your own representation.
I don't know. I've never flown a white flag in my life, so I wouldn't know. I've never flown a heterosexual flag in my life, so I wouldn't know.
So you're saying when it comes to your gender preference,
the only people I see making a big deal out of it are the ones who are LGBTQ plus.
Yeah.
Heterosexual people aren't generally, we don't have, heterosexual only bars. We don't have a heterosexual only flag. We don't have a heterosexual month. We don't have a heterosexual week or anything like that. You know what I mean? So it's a little weird to me to say you want to be seen just as everybody else and then do everything under the sun to stand out from everybody else. And I'm not saying it's the community itself. It's media and, marketing and whatever else.
Happy, obviously we see these instances where they're really upset about the bathroom situation. If I was born a man, I'm now a woman, I should be able to go into a woman's bathroom.
I don't agree at all. If you still have man junk, you're not allowed in the women's bathroom. You're not allowed near my daughter in a stall. That's not how this works.
But do you think that they would be happy if we had men bathrooms, women bathrooms, and trans bathrooms?
No, they'd still complain. But here's the thing. If at any point in time it's okay for a guy to put on a dress and walk into a women's restroom just because he has a dress on, how does that protect women?
What if I were to put on a white coat and get a stethoscope? And
you could just walk into the hospital and
say I'm a
doctor. Yeah. It's kind of the same thing, in all honesty. Just because you put lipstick on a pig doesn't make it, I don't know how the phrase goes, but it's something along those lines. Just because you throw on a dress does not make you a woman. And a lot of times people are overlooking how women feel in the situation for their safety. It's not even just about, we don't want to be forgotten for what we actually are born as, what we're born for, and things like that, just because some guy decides that he can't cut it as a man and wants to be a woman. That's how most people will see it. Oh, you're not doing too well on your swim team as a guy. You're 5th place. Oh, so now you want to be a woman so that you have that physical advantage and now you're 1st place? Okay.
Is it that,
That's
or
how a
is
lot
it
of
just
people see
seeking
it.
attention?
Depends on the person, I'm
Because
sure.
even if you weren't very good, even after the transition, you would receive attention.
Yeah.
Because of what you've done, the disruption you've caused. This comment says that this man is what courage looks like, standing your ground even if you stand alone.
I agree with that one.
Those trans people sure seem level-headed and at great peace in their lives.
I agree with that as well. I know it's sarcasm.
In terms of sarcasm, we need to be abundantly clear
Yes,
here.
that is very true.
Okay.
I agree with the sarcasm of that comment.
He's damn right calling the police out. Absolute joke. They're just standing there. You can guarantee if he fought back, he'd have been arrested.
Yes.
A calm, collected individual telling what he believes in really is enough to set those blanks off. What a great group of people.
But look at the flip side, though. When the trans people stand there and calmly say that they believe they are what they are, it also sets off groups of people who don't agree with them. You have both sides to it. They're only showing this side.
No, you're absolutely right. And typically, that's the only side we're going to see. We're going to see the side
that makes the transgender community look like they're under attack.
Conflict. It doesn't matter. It's just conflict. It's the side of conflict.
Yeah. Well, depending on where you are and depending on who you are, it will depend on what you see. If you are a supporter of the trans community, you're going to see the videos where the trans community is getting crapped on. If you are a non-supporter of the trans community, you see the videos where the trans community is getting a bunch of love.
I was just thinking about
it's designed to make you feel anger.
I mean, think about it like this. So it's like if USA Today was at this event and Fox News was at this event, they would record the same event and the stories would be different.
Yes. Same thing as if you read an article from CNN versus Fox News, you're going to have a different spin on that same article.
I didn't use CNN because CNN is getting into a gray area.
They are, after their Trump.
CNN is getting into a gray area, and that's probably going to be even worse. Because, they're going to be a chameleon.
Well, so that's the thing. CNN is probably looking at it like, we don't know which way they want this to go, so we're going to put ourselves in the middle and push it both directions.
Who's they?
Mainstream.
No, because they are
Government.
mainstream. And it's not just the government. And this is what we're going to get into. This is what you're getting closer, you're getting warmer. They are the people with the money. They are the people that can bring viewership and eyes and ratings and reach to the platform that ultimately makes them money. That's who they is. And they is typically driven by political forces.
Well, I would say that then CNN is seeing that there's more Democrats who are upset with the Democratic current government. And so they're trying to see if maybe showing them more Republican things.
CNN has no backbone. CNN has no morals, most like every other.
I was about to say, what about the rest of them?
But they're only going to do what they need to do to align with the audience that's going to propel them to a future of greater revenues and profits.
Whether it's because they agree or disagree, it doesn't matter as long as they're getting
They'll
views.
never take the L and for standing up for what they truly believe in because all they believe in is money.
Listen, I've said it time and again, and I've lost subs and I've gained subs from it. I believe that you are born with your sexuality. If you are gay, you were born gay. I do not think that being raised by a bunch of women will turn you into a lesbian or gay. I don't think being raised by a bunch of men.
Hang on. Let me back before you go too far into this.
Okay.
What if
What
you
is too far?
With everything you're saying, because I know you got a lot you want to say. But let's just say you were born. Let's just say you were a boy born, and then immediately fostered or adopted by a gay couple in a large gay community. You say that, right? Do you think that that's going to have an influence on that boy being gay?
I think it'll have an influence on how he looks at things, because I don't think it'll have an influence on if he's gay or not. I think it'll have an influence on if he's a little more feminine, depending on how he's raised. Same thing where you see the boy who's raised by two moms. Does that immediately make him like women? Not necessarily, but it also doesn't immediately make him gay, but it could make him more feminine, more sensitive to things, because being raised by women sometimes is a little softer than being raised by men, just depends. But I don't think that sways the sexuality. I think it sways or not sways, but it develops your personality in the sense of hardness, softness, things like that. But I don't think it changes your sexuality.
It could create confusion depending on the conversations or the clothing or certain suggestions made, because we're seeing this.
But you're equating a gay family with clothing. It's not like the two moms are going to turn around and put a son in a dress, and if they do, that's mental illness on the part of the moms, but it does not automatically equate that young boy thinking he's supposed to be a woman.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that they could potentially confuse. Besides, which sexual orientation they're going to go with from that household dynamic. But we're seeing now where, hey, super young kid, we're gonna dictate.
Well, you also see that because it's being pushed on social media. It's these parents who want the fame. There's this one guy who has a son who's probably 7, dresses him like a girl, puts the kid in makeup and whatever, and then you can tell that the dad is telling this child how to record these TikToks and whatever else, and it looks like straight up child abuse from my point of view. And most people are going to know who I'm talking about. Boy has hair to about here. It's like 7 years old. Dad's like balding, and I don't know if he's gay. I don't know if he's straight. None of that really matters in my opinion. But the TikTok videos are of this boy, 7 years old, talking about, and the dad telling this boy how pretty he is as a girl. Wow. That sounds like the dad has a mental illness, not that this child wants to be a girl.
You know what that sounds like. So that sounds
like pedophilia and what's that word? Grooming.
You're gonna have to show me that, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
But it sounds exactly like what I was talking about. Okay, it sounds like dad. I'm gonna have to use that as a loose term.
Okay, yeah, I would too at this point.
Father.
A huge difference between a father and a dad.
He provided his half.
Yeah.
Father. I'm not gonna say dad.
Yeah.
Father. It seems like father is like, hey, they're no different than CNN. Here's the trend. This trend's gonna make me a lot of money.
Yep. That's exactly what I've said the entire time. Anytime I see a video of this child, the dad is always in it. The dad is always somewhere in it.
It's gonna make me a lot of money.
Yep.
This comment says that it's time for vigilante justice. Who the fuck are we letting, or I'm sorry, why the fuck are we letting the weak dictate things?
I don't believe in vigilante justice. That just sounds like...
I'm not saying I condone. I'm just reading the comment. But I almost want to replace the weak with
the strong.
The woke.
The woke? Okay, I was going to say strong because they're able to overpower and push their thing. That doesn't sound like weak people. That sounds like people who are willing to do what it takes to push whatever agenda they want out there. That doesn't sound weak.
I can
that sounds like somebody
that,
who has the push.
Odds are this is Vancouver. It would never happen in Florida.
No, it would never happen in Florida.
It could definitely happen in California.
Yes. And I don't want to say it would never happen in California. In Florida, it would get shut down faster because of the governor, but there's still people in Florida who are transgender. There's still people in Florida who agree that kids should be able to change their sexual identity at 3 years old, which is the most ignorant, stupid thing I've ever heard in my life.
Police turning a blind eye to assault is truly a crime in itself.
Now,
broken oaths should be case for immediate dismissal.
Well, as soon as she punched that person, I have to say she, just because that way we can keep a line between the two. The blonde, as soon as the blonde put the hands on the other guy, the police did step in and push apart.
It's assault. She should have been arrested.
We don't know that she wasn't.
Oh no, she wasn't. The clip, I cut it off.
Okay.
And he went on to say that the cops didn't do anything. They pretend like they didn't see it. Nothing happened.
Did he say he wanted to press charges? Because if he didn't say he wanted to press charges and he had physical proof, then that's on him. You know what I'm saying? Just think about that article we read like a month ago about the eviction. The police were there, but they were not there to stop the conversation, only if hands were laid. And that's when they stepped in.
The police were there, and they, in Vancouver in this situation, in wherever that place was where that eviction was happening, in Chicago as well, with a lot of things that are going on in Chicago. Let me tell you this right now. The police, they have their orders, and they know who cuts the checks. This is a political and spiritual battle against good and evil, the rich versus the poor.
And what sucks is if you are a good police officer who wants to do the right thing, you get screwed over by.
I mean, they are now, in certain instances, being told, don't engage.
Well, there's also...
And like, if this is happening, don't engage. If this is happening against our political party that's funding us, don't engage. If this is happening against our political party that is funding us, then you got to do something.
Well, there's also the aspect of don't engage because you don't want it to look like you are taking a side. You don't want to, if two of them go at it, if you only go after the transgender, it looks like the police are against the transgender. If two of them go at it and you only go after the non-transgender, it looks like they are for transgender. So there's probably that as well.
Okay, Chicago. Let's talk about Chicago.
Okay. They're not going to stop.
A couple walking down the street gets attacked by a crowd of kids. And a woman steps in and tries to help, flags down some cops, and cops are like, y'all voted for this. You know, this is what you're going to get. And they have their orders not to engage. It has nothing to do with transgender or any of that. At the end of the day, it comes down to money.
Yeah.
Okay? The money is going to dictate the news. It's going to dictate CNN. It's going to dictate the crazy father on TikTok with the kid. It's going to dictate how police behave and how you think they may or may not protect you. It comes down to money.
Here's my problem. My phrase, you do you, boo, is a thing for a reason. I believe everybody should be able to live their life the way they want to, as long as it's not harming other people. And that's where it gets squiggly in my mind with the transgender community, because a lot of this push is harming other people. When you have somebody trying to change their child because they want them to be something else, you're harming somebody. There's no more you do you, boo there. There is you are a horrible parent, you are a bad parent, and you shouldn't have children.
We're going to continue this conversation on Patreon. Thank you guys for joining us. You guys take care. Be safe. Be kind to one another. See you guys real soon.